Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. Today is Sunday, January 31st, one day before the meditative gathering we do on Gratefullness meditation that's linked in the description box. Um, well, it's not for you guys. This is going to be, I guess this video is going up tomorrow, so it'll be tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the first day, and whatever. I have to make a video for the, anyhow. It's all coming up, Paulie. um, let's get into it here.
Michael Knowles, your thoughts on Don Lemon being taken away in handcuffs.
When I got the
Okay, she's celebrating here, and I'll show you Don Lemon's response, which I haven't looked at yet. This video is Don Lemon enters the find out phase, which is fuck around and find out. She's celebrating, she's just the worst because she's, kind of truther adjacent. She's right-wing truther adjacent, so she's like adjacent to Tucker Carlson, like these right-wing shills. Maybe Alex Jones, like Tucker Carlson, then Alex Jones, and then Jimmy Dore, like that kind of thing. Like each one is, a little bit better than the rest, but they're all pieces of shit shill kind of things. But they're just boosting his popularity. Like he's out of jail already. This is a bullshit thing. It's a distraction. The Trump stuff is out. I gotta look in. I want to do some the Epstein stuff with Trump in it and other stuff. I guess there's some stuff with Bill Gates. My wife was telling me last night. I don't know whether this has been verified or not. Like Bill Gates, according to whatever my wife saw on Reddit or whatever it might have been, he got syphilis from some prostitute, and he drugged his wife so that she could give her medication because he gave it to her. And again, all the same suspect because whatever their fucking relationship was, Melinda. And so that was, some of the things that were being said there. And I guess there's stuff about Trump and Elon Musk and other things. But, this thing with Don Lemon is just like the stuff with Trump getting arrested. When John Lemon is actually in federal prison for this, then talk to me, right? Because, but anyways, she's celebrating this and she's just propping him up. She's turning him into a star as he was covered. I'm sure he's psyched that he was covered all day yesterday on mainstream media, particularly CNN. He's going to be interviewed. He'll be fucking making the circuit and shit. And so, they just turned him into like he matters, and he fucking doesn't. Like they just gave him a big boost, and that's like not you're gloating, but why? Like you should know this by now, unless you and Don Lemons are friends. Like the more you talk about him, the more that he gets covered, the better it is for him. This is like well known. Like it's just
news, I was sitting down for my show this morning. I pulled a Mayflower cigar out of my cigar box. I lit it up. I'm a simple man. The feds arrest Don
you
Lemon.
sucked a dick, like just the things he likes to do, right?
The
cigar that actually just represents a dick.
Light a cigar. This is, without any qualification, a wonderful thing to happen. It is good for society. It is good.
Why is it good for society? Like, I mean, it's mocking Don Lemon has been something that, I don't know if I was the first person to do it. I'm sure there's people who did it before me. But, I've been doing it for a while. Like, so, he's very mockable. He's like, and there's a lot of stupid people. Like, he's clueless. Don Lemons is like clueless. But how is this good for society? Tell me how the fuck this is good for society. And these two pieces of shit, are Trumpers, so they're psyched that Trump's not being, they're getting off the Epstein files, right? Which is,
For law and order. It's even good for Don.
It's good for law and order.
Society. It is good for law and order. It's even good for Don Lemon because the guy is clearly very messed up.
Oh, yeah.
Look, all the public stories.
Oh, it's just not like, how is this good for Don Lemons? other than it's good for Don Lemons because he's, this isn't going to be a real thing. And you just gave him like street cred. You gave Don fucking Lemon street cred. And like, so, just stop. It's not good for society. It's not good for anything. I mean, certainly it's bad for the fact that, the Epstein files are once again getting short shrift here because of this stupid story. It's Don Lemons gets a week of some celebrity stuff. He gets some, like he's a real person. But it's not good for him. What, you think it's going to jail is good for people? You think that Don Lemon's psychological issues will be healed by going to federal prison? Right? Like, what a piece of shit.
About Murph's Bar in Sag Harbor, and the guy's got a lot of problems, okay? And this is good. He needs to be rehabilitated. He's got a lot of issues. He needs to be corrected.
You think you get rehabilitated in prison? You really think that that's what fucking happens? You think, maybe he can room next to Ghislaine Maxwell, except I guess she gets the country club fucking. Is she getting rehabilitated, Ghislaine? Is she? Like, all these prisoners, they get rehabilitated, you fucking piece of shit.
But it's really important because the biggest impediment, I think, to our having a good, orderly society in recent years has been the establishment media. They're the ones who lie. They're the ones who push their radical policies.
You guys, this is the problem. These guys think they're alternative media, right? Don Lemon talks about legacy media. And Megyn Kelly and Don Lemons are the same. They're the same dude. They're almost exactly the same. Or they're more, Biden and Trump are very similar in their personality types. Megyn Kelly and Don Lemons are like a little bit polar opposites of the same person. So both of them were ousted by mainstream media for being shitty and sucking, right? Megyn Kelly was, she was ousted at Fox for whatever bullshit thing she went through there, the sexual harassment stuff that happened. She went to MSNBC, she went to NBC News and had a shitty show nobody watched. And then with no other places to go, she started doing this, right? And Don Lemon, the same thing. He was ousted for sucking, a little bit different story. But the mainstream media didn't want either one of them, and they still wanted to be a part of that. They didn't choose to get canceled. They didn't choose to lose their audience and not have mainstream media backing. And so they both found a home on the internet. The internet model that many of us built collectively as viewers and as creators, where we would come out independently and give these voices, give our independent voices. And, there's shills and there's people that suck, but, it's people who are not trained journalists, who aren't, weren't a part of the mainstream media. And the sad fact is that YouTube and the platforms owned pieces of shit like Don Lemons and Megyn Kelly that were, part of the establishment, and any celebrity. And people who watch this kind of media want people like that as well. They prefer famous people. Famous people that then, dabble in alternative media truther stuff. It's a sad fact that people gravitate to people like Don Lemons and Megyn Kelly over independent people who are so much better. Because, how stupid it is. I started watching this movie called God Bless America. God Bless America, I think it's called. It's a Bob Gothwaite movie that I'd heard about years ago. And it's some guy who's, just sick of how stupid people are and how crappy it is. And it's got some liberal stuff in it, and it's, he and this young girl go on a killing spree. They start picking people. And the part of it that I liked, he goes into work, and everybody, he's watching all this shitty fucking TV and listening to shitty radio. And when he goes into work, all the people at work are just repeating what they heard that he's totally over because it's just so stupid. And they're all just repeating it. They have no of their own opinions. This is just in the beginning of the cell phone era. I think it was early. I think it's a 20-year-old, 15-year-old movie or something. But you know, like it's a good movie for if you guys have seen it. I've never seen it before. Those scenes of how stupid it is, how stupid people are, right? How fucking remedial their brains are. And you know, Don Lemon and Megyn Kelly are people who want to be like, you know, the mainstream media isn't cutting it for them, but it's only, you know, it's only slightly different, right? And there's a certain brand of stupidity. And so Megyn Kelly and Don Lemons are like on the same level in terms of alternative media. They're really just mainstream media people that have a little bit edgier. They get to be a little bit, tiny bit edgier, right? And look, this guy's pounding his fist into his hand. This like fucking pussy, right? And so, you know, these people who aren't, you know, they're not like us, and they're not independent, and they're completely owned, and they got, you know, they have sponsors, and they're shackled up, and they're whatever they are, right? And they're, you know, and they're you know, they're adjacent to mainstream media. They're like right next to it, and they pretend to be alternative media. Like these, let's listen to them say that here.
Media. They're the ones who lie. They're the ones. Good, orderly society in recent years has been the establishment media. They're the ones who lie. They're the ones who push their radical policies. They're the ones who protect.
Wait, you think that people on alternative media don't lie at all? You don't lie. You guys are all just free from lying because it's the mainstream media. Are you also talking about Fox here?
Horrible politicians, and they've gotten away with it. And what this?
You mean horrible politicians like Trump? Like you guys aren't, you know, you guys that you think that the established media didn't want Trump 2.0? They did everything possible. Look at this piece of shit, right? These fucking
Arrest signifies is that you can't just go about and commit crimes and then claim journalism as a defense. You know,
that's just silly.
the idea that Don Lemon could, by all evidence, conspire with this mob. He said, I know a little secret. I know what we're about to do. Go in there, violate federal law, the FACE Act notably, deprive people of their rights, and then say, no, I have a camera while I did it. I mean, that would be like saying you go over, you murder your enemy, you shoot him.
You shoot a woman in the fucking side of the face from point blank range for no reason, and then you claim self-defense, right? And there's none. Is that what you're talking about? Or you got some guy on the ground, you take his gun and you shoot him for having a gun, no longer having a gun, like that kind of thing, and then you try to disparage these people's characters, and you carry water. Like Megyn Kelly's been the worst, far worse than Fox News and anybody. Her venom and this bullshit. Like he's using a fucking thing. He's pointing his little fucking gay ass fucking finger gun here. You know, like those things are real crimes. And the crimes that the protesters are doing in the street where they're interfering with police and doing these things. This church thing looks fake as fuck. It's a weird thing. And, you know, this is completely a miscarriage of justice when there's other things going on there, right? When Don Lemons is in fucking federal prison, we'll talk. Like, then you can say it's legitimate. And even if he is, it's still bullshit, right? Like, that's just a waste of fucking taxpayer time and money. When these Epstein files are coming out with all these elite motherfuckers who are, you know, compromised by these files, and you guys keep on covering shit like this. Like, why not cover how Trump is fucking said Jeffrey Epstein was a terrific guy and liked young girls? Like, why don't you cover that? Like, if you're alternative media, if you're not mainstream media, why not cover that, right?
5 times in the head, and you say, no, you can't arrest me. I was going to write an article about it later. That's not a defense. And so I
can't believe you used that fucking thing. All right. So I don't want to listen to this piece of shit anymore. We got 2 more Megyn Kelly things to get through. But let's go to Don Lemon. So this is entitled Breaking Don Lemon Speaks Out from the Don Lemon Show. Breaking.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lemon Live at 5, except it's Lemon Live at 5 Pacific Coast time. Pacific time. Thank you so much for joining this evening on a Friday. Sorry, I'm 3 hours late for the 5 o'clock show, but you know I had some things that I had to do today. But
look at him. Look at him bask in the glow that he knows that more people are gonna listen to him. Look how happy he is.
All seriousness, I am fine. I am doing well, and I appreciate.
Boom, Ashley L. Don.
all of your love and your support. I really do, more than anything. As a
Hello, Don. We stand with you.
matter of fact, I want to tell you guys, like, um,
Don.
I ran into Lemonheads today. There was a gentleman who's a Lemonhead
They're all saying the same thing. Don with multiple ends.
in the courtroom this evening
Lemonheads. They fucking came up with a gay name for their stupid fucking fan base. We love you, Don.
with a Don Lemon Show hat on. You know, the light blue hat, and he made sure that I saw him and he waved. And
Look at me, Don. I got a lemon. I got some of your merch you're always pitching. He's wearing this merch right now.
so I have a lot of folks to thank, and in no particular order. But the mayor of Los
The most important thing, Don, are you going to be able to cover the Oscars the way that you do, like being out there on the carpet with the famous celebrities that go up and no one wants to talk to you because you're fucking Don Lemons, particularly Kanye West? Are you going to do that? Are you going to go out there? It's because like we'll miss out on that great content, Don.
Angeles was there, Karen Bass. I think it was fantastic. By the way, I don't know anything. Like, I have not seen the news. I haven't seen anything. I did not know. I've been getting
I haven't had time to Google myself.
feedback from everyone about what is
We
happening.
got your back, Don. Monique and Charles held space for you today. What do you mean you got your back? Well, how do you got their back? How do you guys back? You're gonna buy his fucking merch? You're gonna send him money? What do you mean you got his back? You're gonna. What are you gonna do? Like, what are you gonna do to support? What are you gonna do to have his fucking back against the federal fucking government? You know, we got your back, Don.
I had no idea that all of this turmoil was going on. I just thought, like, you know, it would be. I thought people would report on it, but not to this extent. So, thank you guys, and hit the like and hit the thumbs up, because it does affect the algorithm, and more people become aware of our conversation and our show. And today is a really important one. And
It's fucking important. Let's get support. Let's get to it, Don. Come on, Don. Speak your truth. This person writes.
important for our democracy and to the Constitution of the United States, and what the amendment that I believe is the bedrock of our democracy, and that is the First Amendment: freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom to peaceably assemble, all of those things. This encapsulates.
Don, are you okay? Well, let me answer your comment. Yes, I am okay. I'm getting all this attention. I'm actually doing well. I'm like pretty happy. I'm doing my Oscar show and getting all these people that actually treating me like I'm not a fucking moron for like a change.
All of that. And I'm glad that, at least to the extent that it has, that people are realizing the critical moment that we're in this country, that our rights are under assault. It may have started with people having their due process rights violated on the streets, violently violated on the streets. But now they're trying to silence journalists. And I will not
Okay, Don. Don't get ahead of yourself there, bro.
be silenced. And I think I think journalists should not be silenced. I think
Okay, this is not you being silenced, right? This is you inappropriately breaking into a church when you claim to be a Christian. And over the rumor that some pastor who wasn't there was an ICE agent by day and a pastor by night. That he was masked up ICE agent during the day, and then, but that wasn't even proven. And if that was him, you could have confronted him personally. You guys all could have confronted him, and that you conspired with these people to disrupt a church and a service, and that's goes against the Klan Act, which I assume is a part of the Ku Klux Klan. So they're reversing this thing on you just as a way to slap you even more. And so this has nothing to do with you expressing yourself. This is nobody should be in favor of that fucking protest. Like, it was a protest to make everybody look at me. Like, this is your way of getting people to look at you. If you guys just went in to do something that wasn't like appalling and fucking wrong, like not going into a church, you did something else, no one would have watched you. This wouldn't be an issue. And so, like, this is, they're calling this civil disobedience, but all the people that were there in church, why disrupt? I mean, it's just fucking wrong to disrupt people's worship or their connection to God. Like, you know how I feel about the Old Testament, the Bible, and the religion as a whole. But the people that are there, they may or may not be getting something out of this, and maybe connecting to God, and it's not a negative thing. They're not doing anything to hurt anybody. Those people had nothing to do with the riots, right? Like if there was a one person that worked for the church, according to you, that was the story. I don't know if that, we don't know if he botched that part of it either, but that somebody they had some connection to ICE. The people there and the kids there had nothing. You guys are disrupting it, like just to be fucking douches. That's not like the paramount of freedom of speech, and your shitty journalistic coverage of it, and your that weird interaction you had with that pastor, which was just another, like, you being an incompetent fucking interviewer. None of this is journalism, right?
This is a very critical time for journalists in this country to stand up to this tyrannical administration.
Yeah, that's not what you were doing, though, right, Don? Like, you weren't fucking really doing that. Like, this was just some fucking lame ass news coverage from a lame ass protest that was, everybody look at us. Let's do something that will make people talk about us. Like, this is finding a way to get some run on the internet and mainstream media by doing something that's just fucking wrong. Like, everyone kind of knows it's wrong. Like, everybody who fucking can think for themselves. And and now he's getting all this attention. He's loving this moment. Like, he's getting to pretend he's a journalist again for the mainstream media and all these other people. We're now calling him a journalist.
And
I mean, this is, if you were actually alternative media, if you were actually not legacy media, as he calls it, mainstream media wouldn't be calling you a journalist. The fact that CNN and MSNBC are calling you a journalist, you're loving that, because if you were alternative, they don't never call truthers journalists. They never call independent people journalists, right? They wouldn't be calling that clown that she had on the other day, Megyn Kelly, whatever his name is. That guy used to be a part, that whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. They wouldn't call him a journalist when he was doing his bullshit stuff. The same kind of bullshit stuff to draw attention to himself. They wouldn't call Alex Jones a journalist. And he's an out-and-out shill, right, for fucking, he's COINTELPRO, that stuff. And so, the fact that you're calling you a journalist means you're part of the legacy media.
Look, journalists are going to be, I believe they can be the folks that save us. I actually believe that artists will be the people that save us as well. And that's why I'm
journalists and artists. Yeah, great, Don. Keep on dreaming, bro.
Here in Los Angeles is to cover the artists who are exercising their freedom of expression.
You mean fucking celebrity bullshit? You think celebrities? And wait till he goes to hobnob with them, and they all kiss his ass, and oh my God, you're safe. Way to go, Don. Stand up, like all these celebrities on the fucking red carpet. It's gonna be fucking appalling, right? It's gonna be the unbearable, for this piece of shit clown, this ass clown, and these piece of shit celebrities, these celebrities that no one wants to hear from. That people are like over celebrities giving their stupid liberal political opinions. And that those are the people that are going to save us, these celebrities and journalists. Those are the the apocalypse. You're admitting that there's nothing that's going to save us, right, Don? You're admitting it right here. Breaking. Don Lemons becomes blackpilled.
Rights and creating fantastic music. And so I'll explain to you in a moment what happened, because I was actually covering. I had just been on the red carpet at the Black Music Collective, the Grammy Black Music Collective, and we were talking about the power and the importance of representation in music and black music. I had just seen Ketanji Brown Jackson. I just said,
"No way."
Waved hello to her as she walked by.
You did. Wait. Did you wave like that? What?
Said waved hello to her as she walked by. She didn't want to.
Did you wave like that, Don?
Do an interview.
Thanks for doing that dramatization of the wave.
Pharrell and all of the wonderful artists who are contributing to what's good in this country, the very best. But so look, I have been, guys.
Imagine, like, do you guys know anybody that is a Don Lemon head? Like, do you guys know anybody that's a Don Lemon fan that will tell you how great Don Lemon is? Maybe you work with somebody, or you got some relative. Does anybody leave a comment if you know a Lemonhead? I doubt anybody here does. But these people leaving comments, happy you are okay. These people who are thinking Don Lemon's rocks, they don't know he's stupid. So how stupid are they? They don't know Don Lemon's is clueless. They don't know Don Lemon sucks, right? Just like the people don't know Megyn Kelly sucks. When you talk to people like that, what is it like to talk to somebody like that, right? That's that fucking stupid.
A journalist for 30 years, if not more. I'm a man of a certain age. I always say old people be knowing. And
old people be knowing.
The only job or profession that is protected in the Constitution, I believe, and in the very First Amendment, is a job that I do. Is a job that I have, and so many journalists around the world. So this is a moment for journalists, I believe, around the world.
I don't know what Megyn Kelly has. I think she says there's evidence, not that she has it, but that's what's in the court document. I saw CNN or MSNBC talking about this last night, where they're trying to get him so he can't leave California. He can't go back to his home in New York, and he can't go to Minnesota because they're saying he's a flight risk, right? Imagine Don Lemon's on the run, right? But of course he's not a flight risk. This is his big moment. You've given him his big moment. This is Don Lemon's probably big and only big moment like this. You've legitimized him, the Trump administration, and they did it for their own personal gain and their own, distraction from Epstein and these other things going into the weekend. It was let's arrest Don Lemon and drop the Epstein files on Friday, and just find another way to avoid the media coverage of that stuff and the rest, all the things, all the negativities, things that are going on with Minnesota. Let's make this about Don Lemon, which is always good for the right. And it's good for Don Lemon. This is where you guys are, helping each other out. But,
world, and I am so grateful to everyone who has voiced their support, who has put out statements, who has reached out to me, who has said, whatever you need financially, whatever support that you need. It has been over.
You mean that $24 million that CNN gave you to leave, to say, we're going to give you $24 million not to be on our show anymore, not to be on our shitty network. CNN, that gets no views and nobody likes. The CNN, and this might get him back in the fucking door. But CNN is it's the worst. I think it does worse ratings wise than MS Now, and certainly Fox. And that CNN said, "Hey, we'll give you $24 million not to be associated with us." Right? Is that gone, Don? And then all your merch money, right? You need fucking donations.
And I do think right now that people understand that, again, this is a very critical time, and I hope that this continues, and to support not just me. If I can be the catalyst for or the inspiration for people to say, finally, stand up to the powers that be in our government.
That's so. What Don Lemons is being accused of here. I forgot what I was saying a second ago. That Megyn Kelly is going to present, I think, in one of these video clips. I didn't see the video clips yet. I think that Candace Owens put something out last night. I'm not going to cover it, but I want to show you DPUSK and this other stuff that's going on. The non-reaction to Erika Kirk and, one theory that's out there about this. But, this thing with Don Lemons, what they're charging him with is that they have evidence saying that he conspired with these people to go into church. So it's one thing to call yourself a journalist. It's another thing to plan and be a part of a plan. And they'll know if they can get into his emails, whatever evidence they come up with, where he conspired to make this news event, right, and then cover it. So that's different, right? This is like a WWE thing, like Trump's fake assassination attempt, where they're conspiring. It's a lot different if you're just there and they tell you, hey, Don, we're going into this church. Or you're like, hey, why don't you guys go into this church and I'll cover you. Right? That's a big difference. And I'm not saying he should be, with all the other bullshit that this is some horrible crime. But it would discredit him as a fucking journalist if he, is setting this thing up with them. And he's done it before because he went in Capitol Hill and they were storming Capitol Hill. You remember this? They went to these various offices, Marjorie Taylor Greene, some of these other people, some of them left-wing people. I don't know if it was about Epstein. It was something. It was about something. And they were going from all around the house, knocking on doors and doing this kind of bullshit journalism, fake journalism stuff that's, popular with truthers, where, ambush journalism. And it sucked, and he's retarded, it's just bad. But he's done that before, where he's conspired with these people who are going to, like, harass people, right?
Government, and also, quite frankly, having come from corporate media for a long time, to stand up to the gatekeepers, the corporations.
Oh my God, you're not standing up to anybody. How have you stood up to gatekeepers? James O'Keefe is that guy I was talking about. He was a part of that bullshit, whatever it's called. And I think they took it away from him. And now he's just, doing his own. But all these people who've done this over the years that have gone in and, got in the face of people and did ambush journalism, all this kind of bullshit, right? Most of these people are shills and, not independent people. And like this, he's talking about standing up to the gatekeepers, right? When are you going to tell your story here, Don?
No, I am not going to bend the knee to this administration. I am not going to put on liars and insurrection deniers and election deniers. I'm not going to.
No one's pressuring you to do that, Don. This is a matter of whether you conspired or not. Like how much, and at least there was some. You knew about it, right? You knew about this thing. Like, it wasn't like you didn't know about it, because why would you be there? So you came up to Minnesota, and they plan events, like Don plans events. So he, like when he goes to Washington, D.C., so Don Lemons went into Washington, D.C., like he's like, I'm going to be man on the street. And he sucks at the man on the street. Like half the time he gets owned by the people he's talking to, because he's not quick-witted, right? He can't come back with things. He's not, even in his interviews, often he's lost. He doesn't understand what people are saying because he's fucking clueless. Like his comprehension ability is really low. And so he goes to these. We went to Washington, D.C. He had a couple of things that he was covering that, he had to know about ahead of time. And so did they reach out to you and say, hey, Don, why don't you come to Washington, D.C.? The thing that they were doing with going into the, House of Representatives and going door to door, knocking on the, these politicians, it was fucking bad. It was bad fucking, coverage. It was like, I mocked it, right? It was mockable. Just like anything Don does is mockable. So, what was the exact conversations he had with these people? And I don't believe he should be arrested. Again, this is benefiting him. But none of this he's not being arrested for journalism. He's being arrested for harassing these people in their Sunday worship and, conspiring to do it, and which would be really bad for him in terms of like all of this. But it won't, because people don't give a shit. There's no journalistic integrity, and he's not really a journalist.
To give my platform to those people. I'm not going to put people on television and give them a platform, people who come on just to lie and to offend and to insult.
Okay, so
they get rid of the press first.
Because he's going to tell a story at some point.
Is not to bend the knee. It's not to acquiesce.
So, all right. He wants a moment before he tells a story.
And they are not afraid of the powers that be. That's our motto. That's our mission. Just like a doctor, just like a lawyer.
He's having his moment. He's having his fucking moment here.
Texts from folks. I just got off the phone with my mom for the first time, and she was worried, and my nieces and my family in Louisiana. And look, I got to thank some people who came to my rescue, and that's my husband, who had my back. And
he didn't run away and say, "Hey, I'm not. Well, you're on your own."
Made sure that all of this was that it was handled properly and that my rights were not violated. I want to thank one of my dearest friends in the world and my agent, Jay Suris, who is
that guy
collective to do the red carpet, to talk to people about the importance of music and the arts in this time that we're in.
Fucking Grammys? You mean the Grammys? Is that what you're talking about? Another way Hollywood celebrates itself?
Who just amazing. Thank you, Nikki and Peter and my friends, my very dear friends. But this is a statement that I ran when I left the courthouse today, and I want to play that, and then I'll be back in a second. Here it is.
I want to thank everybody for their support. It truly means the world to me. I had no idea what's going on because obviously
There's nothing more true than that. I have no idea what's going on.
And then I'll be back in a second. Here it is.
I want to thank everybody for their support. It truly means the world to me. I have no idea what's going on because obviously I haven't seen anything. I have spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now. In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for a free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. Again, I will not stop now. I will not stop ever.
Boom. Lay it down, Don. I will not stop sucking right now or ever.
Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering
Sucking really bad and fucking being clueless.
the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for...
All right. It's enough of Don Lemons. Now we go back to another intolerable person in Megyn Kelly talking about, here, let's see what she has to say. Okay, so let's switch over to this cunt here. Great.
News. Don Lemon, the former CNN host who now makes a fool of himself on his bizarre YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? He makes a fool of himself. Like he's, one of these ass clowns on the internet. Like, he's a fool. He's stupid, but yet you want him to be what? In prison for something that isn't really like that bad compared to what else is going on. This is what you're making him more famous now. If he doesn't go to jail, then he's gonna leave with journalistic credibility that he didn't have before, right? The thing about these people that are on these guys, the Megyn Kellys, the Don Lemons, and the Tucker Carlsons, we know that the people that control the system. I've said this over and over again. I talk about this all the way back in my book, The Choice. It was written, 2010 or 11 or earlier 9. I don't know. The people that control the system, when you go against God's will, when you lie, the truth is, there's a divine counterbalance, right? There's a divine process that brings the lie into, brings the truth back from the lie, right? Exposes the lie and reveals the truth. So all this stuff comes out in one way or another. And especially for the liar. Like your lies come back in your face. And if you told enough of them, they cause like a psychological breakdown. Especially when you start believing your own bullshit, right? You start believing your own lies. And so there's a natural process when you go against God's will. You have the choice to do that, but once you do that, it sets in motion a counterbalance, a response, a divine response to correct your wrongdoing. And if you find ways to overcome that, the consequences just become more and more severe. Every time that you create consequences for yourself by creating deception, by manipulating the divine world, the consequences get stronger and stronger as you push them off or you double down and triple down. And so one of the ways that the controllers combat that is repeating the lies and not letting the process work as best as they can control it on the material level, right? So, they're paranoid, they're hyper paranoid because they know at some point they're going to get fucking consequenced. I mean, they're getting consequenced all the time. They're going to lose control of the system. They're going to lose control of the narratives and the lies. It's inevitable. And so that's why I call them the controllers. They have to control everything on a material level to prevent that from happening, prevent the inevitable from happening. And if you've ever been in a situation where you're going to get consequence, that something's coming your way, and you just can't avoid it, you think about it all the time, that's what these people do. Like, they worry about these things, even if it's not there in their minds presently, it's there, in their subconscious. They don't sleep well, all this stuff. And so when the, internet, which they needed to further their agenda, they developed this truth element, the truther element. They've done everything they can to control it because the truth is getting out there, and whether we have the power to change the material system or not, the more that their lies are exposed on a divine level, the less control they have over the consequences coming in, right? So they've had to figure out strategies to control the truth community. And one of the ways was to put operatives in like Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon and people like that, influencers that they control, and they're either paid off by, they're shackled up like Charlie Kirk or, Megyn Kelly and these other people, or there's some other way, Candace Owens, all these people. And they were going to minimize, shadow ban all the, people telling the truth, which we all know how that works, right? You guys experience it. And they were going to promote all these people. And this is what they've done. So, these people aren't in any way alternative media. They're actually worse than that because they're wolf in sheep clothing, right? They're shills in sheep clothing. And so, to go with that, let's go back to it here.
Has been arrested by the feds for his role in the now infamous agitator-led ICE protest at City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota during Sunday service on January 18th. According to reports, he's been charged with 2 federal crimes: conspiracy against rights, also known as the Ku Klux Klan Act, a felony. That's where you violate somebody else's civil rights, like that to attend a worship service. And he's been charged also with violating the FACE Act, which makes it a crime to, quote, by force or threat of force or by physical obstruction, intentionally injure, intimidate, or interfere with, or attempt to injure, intimidate, or interfere with any person lawfully exercising or seeking to exercise the First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of religious worship. Okay? So if he, in short, by physical obstruction, interfered with someone's ability to go to church.
Okay, so the issue here isn't whether these are crimes or not. That's debatable. The issue is if Don Lemon doesn't go to jail, then this acts like a distraction for Trump. It gives Megyn Kelly and all the rest of us, some topic to talk about, right? Especially her, all those people. And it promotes the shit out of Don Lemon. Like, if Don Lemon actually doesn't go to jail here, prison, which I'd be shocked if he did, then this benefits him more than anybody long term. And short term, he's out there pretending to be a journalist, being, not an ass clown, right? And she said that he's an actual clown, in the beginning, whatever the terminology she used. And yet she's treating this like it's a serious thing. It sucked that they went to that church, and, it's whatever it is. It's not cool that they did that. But given the scope of all these other crimes that are going on, especially the ones being committed by Trump, and the Epstein files and the rest of these things that, her audience really cares about. I mean, everybody now cares about the Epstein files and seeing justice for these so-called elite people like Trump. And, so for them to do this.
He's in trouble. And that's what they're alleging. That he and others went into that church. They obstructed the aisles. They obstructed the entrances, the exits.
They're obstruction everything. Now, this would be usually considered, by people who are really Christian, this is hard. This is a bad thing. But for people who are, not Christian or not into their Christianity, and to the law enforcement themselves, assaulting police officers, in this case ICE, and obstructing justice is a worse crime, right? And they're not arresting those people, the protesters out in the street. And that should tell you something. I said ICE can't arrest people. They don't have a place to put them, right? ICE can't arrest these guys, so they're just macing them and roughing them up. And then this is some, weird dynamic they have now. But, that's just, and none of this stuff, it's all fake anyway. This is definitely an operation, this whole thing. Choosing Minnesota, of all places, they're saying it's a sanctuary city. Sure. But it's far away from the borders you could get. It's closer, it's on the Canadian border, but not on the Mexican border. And, this is a city that was the centerpiece of this thing the last time. They already have an operation there for these protests, right? They already have a protest operation from when they did the George Floyd stuff, right? The very liberal city of Minneapolis. And so it's all contrived, right? It's not a real thing. It's not organic.
the ability of parents to get downstairs to get their children who are in the preschool sort of waiting area where you put your kids to Sunday school while you're at the main church, and that they did it.
It's amazing they don't bring the kids to church anymore because the kids, they're so fucking, like, you know, I had to sit through that shit when I told you about my story where I started to laugh, you know, when I was with my mom that time. But, you know, I had to sit through that shit, you know, the pews and the fucking shitty, uncomfortable fucking, you know, kneel down and do all that fucking shit for an hour. And, you know, just, it's boring as fuck, right? There's no place for kids to go when I went to church. Like, you had to, you know, suffer it through it.
Knowing that they'd be interfering in the mass and still doing it anyway. That's what they did. Don Lemon knew what he was walking into. He knew exactly what he was walking into.
I thought you said he was stupid and clueless.
And he did it anyway. Now,
this is what I said about Trump. Either Trump is a dumb fucking narcissistic boob or he's a criminal mastermind, right? It's one of the two. You can't, you know, they were talking about how crazy Trump was. They were talking about Trump being senile when they had Joe Biden, who was obviously fucking senile, and Trump was much better than him. I mean, now he's starting to break down. But they would talk about Trump as being an incompetent boob, a horrible businessman, which he is, but then also a criminal mastermind. Like, you can't be both, right? You know, you can't be playing 5D chess and fucking, you know, wearing hockey equipment. Like, you fucking...
wants to claim that he was a journalist and that's how somehow protects him. It doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to take you through right now.
Right now, she's going to do it.
Why we think Don Lemon was not behaving as a journalist.
John Demon?
That day, but it doesn't matter at all. 100% as a journalist, this is illegal. As a journalist, this is illegal.
You're calling Don Lemon a journalist? I see where you're going here, bro. Brah. Come on, brah.
We're still waiting to get our hands on the indictment to see exactly what the DOJ is alleging. And I have been told by a reliable source that when we see the supporting affidavit, it will have far more detail than we got from the supporting affidavit for the first three who were charged. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And don't forget, they brought this before a magistrate judge last week. That magistrate judge approved the charges against the three leaders of the protest, Nakima Levy-Armstrong, Chantel Allen, and William Kelly. He's the most obnoxious of anyone, screaming in the faces of children that their parents are Nazis.
Boom. William Kelly. That's how he rolls.
But at that time, that magistrate judge, who, don't forget, his wife works for Keith Ellison.
No fucking way.
The attorney general leading the charge against ICE in Minneapolis. And his wife, the magistrate judge's wife, continues to like tweets opposing ICE.
No way. Fucking ICE tweets.
That magistrate judge at the time declined to approve charges against Lemon. They tried to take that judge's decision up to his district court boss, the chief judge in the district, to try to get him to sign off on them. And while you have all these journalists out there now saying, he said you could not bring these charges. The chief judge said you could not bring charges against Lemon. He said nothing of the kind.
No, he fucking didn't. All right, let's get to the thing here. So this is where she lays it down.
One reason you can't do it, it would be trespass. It would be a criminal act of trespass.
Holy shit, did you just say he was trespassing? Was he trespassing? Was Don fucking Lemon's trespassing? I hear they give you the chair for that, right? Was he actually trespassing? Was there a no trespassing sign and he went in and he was like, fuck that sign. I'm going in anyway. Trespassing is such a fucking horrible crime. I mean, it's what is it, a misdemeanor? He was trespassing.
And every news organization, every single one out there right now that's saying, this is an outrage, he did nothing wrong, absolutely knows this, but they are ignoring it. But Don Lemon is...
No way. Like, you're ignoring all the stuff that's happened with Trump? Like, you know, like, she makes it sound like she doesn't ignore all the fucking shit that's happened with Trump, starting with his fake assassination attempt, starting with his caving, and really starting back with the Operation Warp Speed and all the rest of it, because she's an anti-vax, right? Isn't she? Isn't she a COVID person? Like, she's one of the few things she's right about, and she's, you know, but she's pretending Trump had nothing to do with that, right? All this stuff, like ignoring Trump's blatant fucking narcissism and lying and all the stuff that he is
in so much more trouble than that, because he did not just trespass into somebody's private property, which a church is, absolutely is. He did not have an invitation to be there, and he trespassed. He made the colossal blunder of doing it into a house of worship in the middle of a religious service.
No fucking way. He's a real asshole, that guy.
That was a colossal blunder.
I mean, it's almost like shooting somebody in the face at point blank range with no provocation.
Because now you're talking about rock solid rights that the churchgoers have.
Boom, they got the rock solid rights.
Under the Constitution and under federal statutes.
She's a shill, but she's also shrill. She's a shill that's shrill.
Not to be bothered.
Boom, not be bothered by the likes of Don Lemons.
While they're worshiping. And Don Lemon is either too stupid.
That one.
Or too rude.
That one too.
To know that. Okay? He either was too dumb to check with his very famous, very well-paid lawyer, Abby Lowell, before he did this colossally stupid thing, or he did know and he flouted the law intentionally. Either way, he's in a shit ton of trouble.
Shit ton.
Because you do have a constitutional right to worship in peace, and you have a statutory right to do it under the FACE Act and the Klan Act, for that matter. All right? So he messed with the wrong group of people.
Boom. Fuck around, find out.
I would have been in trouble had I gone into Crystal Mangum's house under the trespass laws. And he not only violated the trespass laws, he stepped in a whole host of other shit because it was a religious house in the middle of a service. That's the difference here. It doesn't matter whether he participated as a protester, which there is a very strong case he did, or if he did it as a journalist. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. These journalist thing ain't going to work.
I could not go into an abortion clinic as Megyn Kelly journalist with a bunch of pro-lifers who were impeding women's access to the clinic. They wouldn't have to be putting chains on the door into the surgery room if they were standing between an abortion seeker and the surgical facility, or never mind the abortion facility at large. They'd be committing a crime. And if I were in
a crime that would probably not be charged. A crime that probably wouldn't involve the big fucking federal thing that we're doing now, right? Unless there was some publicity angle to it. Like, the issue here isn't whether there were crimes committed, because there is an issue with that, but like, you can always find some bullshit thing. When you're pressing these, there's clear obstruction of justice going on with the protesters in Minneapolis, and they're not charging these people. The police they have to get the police to do it. ICE can't do shit, right? So that's what their problem with that, because I shouldn't even be there interacting with these people. And, like I said, they have a whole network of protest, administration that exists because of the George Floyd thing. So they chose the city for a reason. Trump going after the city, this ICE thing, this is all part of something, right? This is part of a plan, like it's being executed. But the issue is whether they actually charge the people with it, or they actually pursue it, other than him getting arrested and there being a couple of hearings. It's going to take till this time next year to go after that guy Tyler Robinson, for the trial for Tyler Robinson to start. And that's in fucking Utah, right? That's in Utah, a place where, I lived there for a while. Beautiful place. Love it. I show pictures from there all the time. But, we know Utah. It's not the busiest, craziest metropolis. And this is the biggest case they've ever had. They have to wait a year before the preliminary stuff starts happening. So you're saying Don Lemons is going to end up in prison in 2 months? No, fucking this is going to drag on. It's just going to give him street cred, journalistic cred, and it's never going to amount to anything. Because the stuff that Trump was being charged with, which was just as legitimate, he never served any time, right? They kind of convicted him, but then they erased that, right? The Supreme Court. So whatever happened with that, right? So this isn't it's the same kind of thing.
There too, I would be also committing a crime. You don't get a pass just by saying, well, I'm just here to put it on my YouTube channel. That's not how it works. Or even CBS Evening News or 60 Minutes or ABC Nightly News. Sorry, every real journalist knows that does not give you a free-for-all pass to do whatever the fuck you want.
Whatever the fuck you want.
If only. I mean, if only. We'd have amazing gets all the time. We would be participating in all sorts of crimes so we could bring them live to you in the midst of them. I mean, it'd be amazing.
It'd be amazing. It's everybody's journalistic dream to be a part of the criminal activity and cover it. All right, so that was her thing, right? Her big rant on Don Lemons, and it only means anything if Don Lemons goes to jail, like he goes to prison, like if he's convicted, and and there's some kind of substantial sentence, like what would it be, 1 to 3 years of felony, and some like John Lemons would be in jail, and Ghislaine Maxwell would be in a country club, right? Because this is going to be a federal issue. So we'll see what happens. Nothing will. Like, it just won't. So here we go. Jen Psaki.
Joining me now for an exclusive interview is Abby Lowell. He's one of the most prominent defense attorneys in the country.
I wonder what nationality Abby is. This is exclusive. Jen Psaki's got exclusive. So I looked him up, and 3 of these prominent his clients include Hunter J. Biden, Jared J. Kushner, and Bob Menendez. And I think they were all guilty, right? He represented 3 guilty prominent people who are, questionable on both sides.
And he is representing Don Lemon in his case against the Trump Justice Department. Abby, we just showed Don there, of course. Everybody's been able to see him. He also did a YouTube Live people may have watched. But this is
People may have watched. Just shout out to Don Lemons.
Fine, no matter who you are. How is Don doing? I think a lot of people at home are wondering that.
I think people should be. I mean, no matter how solid you are and how much you've covered the news, when others get this happening to them, when it happens to you, it's a different event. I mean, let's talk about what happened first to Don, and then I'd like to talk about what it means to everybody else, okay? So what happened to Don was that for 30 years, he's done not just his job. It is his job, like it's your job to be a journalist. But that's a job that is protected, by the way, by something other than a contract you have with your network. It's protected by the First Amendment of the United
Boom, First Amendment.
States Bill of Rights. And so what he's done for 30 years is his job. And his job is to report on what it is that you saw he was doing in Minnesota. He is basically recording, sometimes video, sometimes by taking notes, what's going on around him. So that's what he did. Immediately, Attorney General Bondi, Assistant Attorney General of the Civil Rights Division, and who knows in the White House were already tweeting, this was a crime, we're going to go to get him. And so what did you do? You have to lawyer up. So he and I know each other, we got together, and what's the first thing I did? I wrote to the Department of Justice.
They slapped him across the face and said, you fucking dumb fuck.
10 days ago. And I said, I'm representing Don Lemon. I understand you might be investigating him. If you're going to take any action, do it the right way. You don't have to make a show of it. You don't have to make a circus of this. Get in touch with me.
Did you hear back from them?
I'm still waiting. So,
boom, fucking mother. They're turning this into a sideshow. Imagine Don Lemon's being part of a sideshow.
Oh, right. What else did they do? So not only did they basically attack as a crime something that you and others do that are protected by the First Amendment, they didn't do it just in the way you're supposed to. They wanted it to be terrifying. They wanted it to be intimidating. They wanted it to create fear.
Boom. That's what they do. Fucking those motherfuckers.
So he lives in New York. It's not Minneapolis. He's going to Los Angeles to do his job, which is to cover, in this case, the Grammys this weekend.
And it's going to be great coverage.
They wait until he's in Los Angeles. That's not enough.
That's not enough. What else? What else, Abby?
They waited until 11:30 at night.
No way. 11:30?
He was coming back for doing what he does in the lobby of a hotel, and not one, not two, not three, but the bevy of agents surround and take him away. Don thought he was being mugged because he is
It's a bevy?
controversial, and he actually thought some crazy people on the right might be stalking him.
Can I pause just for a moment? Because I think it's so important.
How many is a bevy, Abby?
hear this. We just showed Georgia's video. How many agents surrounded him in
I'm
the
trying
lobby?
to count right now, but let's put it this way: it's more than the one that would have been necessary to do it the right way. And they're cloaked, and they're protected, and they're armed. This is to somebody who's not a threat, doesn't have a criminal record. He's not Maduro in Venezuela that you have to snap out. You basically have heard from his attorney, and they don't care about any of that. So they take him away, and that's what happened. But they didn't just take him away.
What do they do?
Remember, they didn't just stalk him in Los Angeles. They did it at 11:30 at night, so that they knew that he'd have to spend a night in jail. For
No way. Fucking, that's bullshit.
no reason whatsoever. But they did that on purpose. So they trail him to Los Angeles. They wait
Was he
until
violated in jail? Let's get to the chase here. Or did he violate somebody else? Or was he a willing participant?
11, and they make sure that he has to spend a night in jail, knowing that we wouldn't be able to get in front of a judge until the next day. That's what happened to Don for doing his job. Now let's talk about what it means for everybody else. What it means for everybody else is that we've seen today the next step towards what you would have thought if I described what happened, you were describing what happened in pre-World War II Italy with Mussolini.
All right. So here's the thing. You know, I'm big on doing what's right. You know, like for, I was talking about this stuff with the guy who was just recently shot, whatever the fuck his name is. You know, these things just come and go. And Alex Preddy. And he, like police have a certain level of responsibility, and these guys aren't police, they're fucking ICE, and who knows what their fucking deal is, right? Like there's no coverage of why it's illegal for them to be interacting with American citizens and all this stuff that they're doing. Certainly shooting them is not a thing. But there's a protocol that you follow within the Justice Department. And this is totally a show from Trump, and there's real reasons. But what Megyn Kelly said, makes sense that would be, you have your freedom of speech and your right to be a journalist, but also you can't use that to impede other people's rights. And there's a lot of stuff to do with the church, right? Because religious freedom is a big thing. And being able to practice and all the harassment that has happened in the past at these churches, especially black churches with the Klan and this kind of thing. And so, this is very problematic for Don. I don't think he's going to prison, but he's not mentioned in that part, right? The part where this would be legitimate. Because the right-wing people will hear this on Fox News, and they'll think Don Lemons is a criminal because they don't hear the other side, right? And the mainstream liberal media won't cover the stuff that Megyn Kelly said. This is how it always works, right? And so this is just, this is how they do the division. But, I mean, what he did here was definitely not cool. Like, it wasn't, like, he wasn't, he doesn't have clean hands. It was a mess, but it isn't as bad as shooting somebody in the fucking face, right? So there's all that. Anyways, all right, that's enough of this. Let's move on. We'll see what happens. Like, that's, there's the conflict. There's the two sides of it. And I think Trump got what he wanted, arresting Don Lemons, humiliating him and using it as a distraction. And then, how much they pursue this as it goes forward. But if he ends up in prison, that would be a shocker to me. Trump is that vindictive, but I don't think it's going to happen. But we'll see, right? We'll see how that all plays out. Okay. I want to move to the Candace Owens thing, briefly show her stuff, and then talk about a little bit about, well, first let's start off with Kurt Metzger, formerly known as Kerp on Kyle Dunnigan. Here he is with Joe Rogan, who has had Kyle Dunnigan on his show multiple times. I don't know.
They set up the tent where he got killed to take selfies in. Does that seem odd to anybody for doing that?
Oh my God.
Okay, so, the answer would always be, why the fuck did they do that, right? So this woman's an anti-conspiracy theory. She was really anti-vax. She works for MSNBC as a sort of consultant / she's like a one of these internet, one of these people like us, like me, that independent person, but she's a left person who's completely shackled and shilled up. She's like I guess I want to say quite on the level of Megyn Kelly in terms of notoriety, but maybe like a Jimmy Dore type person who gets, she's being sponsored, right? She's being shackled up. She was definitely shackled up by the vaccine, like the big pharma, to go after anti-vaxxers, right? And so here she is calling this thing out. Now, we don't know if Erika Kirk put this thing up, right? I don't think she did. But a lot of this could be just a part of an elaborate psychological operation, and they're leaving these little breadcrumbs and things to keep people going, which we'll talk about more in a bit.
They got a Prove Me Wrong booth where Charlie Kirk was assassinated in as a fan photo booth.
Yeah, but Candace is a grifter. If you don't like Candace, who gives a fucking shit about it? It has nothing to do with whether that story has some problems with it.
Yeah, it's not a matter of whether Candace is, this isn't anything to do with, if you're criticizing Candace, that doesn't mean that you're validating Erika Kirk. See, this is where, I don't know what the fuck he's wearing here. But Kirk is like lost his shit with Jimmy Dore and the rest of them. Because, Candace is obviously sucks in whatever levels that she's controlled or owned, or she's doing this on her own. I mean, she's got to be connected in some way. Because she's been connected for years. Like, she had Trump's phone number. She could call Trump anytime she wanted. She was able to communicate with him. I mean, back when, before she said he was deep state. But back in the days of Charlie Kirk, they regularly communicated and had interactions. And then, she worked for Ben Shapiro. So, come on. Like, this is not either or. This is not right or left. This is not black or white. This is not a binary situation. This is not good versus evil. It's evil versus evil, right? Like, this is evil versus evil. And so the same thing with Megyn Kelly and Don Lemons. I mean, if you don't have to call it evil, but whatever it is, it's not good, right? It's not, if evil is too strong a word for what they're doing, I mean, they're all working for, going against God's will, so that's evil. I mean, they're all part of that. Even if they claim to be religious or they claim to be atheists, they're all working against God's will, right?
Story, the Charlie Kirk assassination story?
Yeah. Which it obviously does. Do you think this is creepy? Your husband dies, he come out in a sparkly outfit with fireworks shooting all.
Yeah, but see, that has nothing to do with Candace Owens, right? We all know it's, if either know or you don't know, but either way, it doesn't matter, just like with Don Lemons. Don Lemons going to jail or prison changes absolutely nothing. Like, if Trump had gone to prison, it would have changed something, but it wouldn't have stopped what's happening or what was going to happen, right? If Kamala was elected, it wouldn't have made much of a difference. It would be just a different pathway to destruction. So, I mean, none of these things are going to stop or affect what's going to happen. They're just all window dressing, right? It's just the story that you get. Whether it interests you or not or whatever it might be, it's just a story that's, that you're seeing. Let's go to Candace here first. Okay, so I want to show you a little bit of this video, the ungodly father that has 1 million views. This interview got 1.4 million views. This loose lip syncs and other Zoom call leaks, 1.8 million views. 1.9 million views for the other linked video. And then the fired video, the leaked video with the person being fired. And then the lawsuit. These are all big headlines, right? These are, people want to hear about the lawsuit. If Erika Kirk's suing Candace Owens, that's an immediate draw, right? Like lots of people came to my channel looking about what I was going to say about Don Lemons getting arrested. And so these are all big events. 3 leaked videos, right? 3 leaked videos, the employee leak video, and then the 2 leaked videos of Erika Kirk. Those are all big bombshell. And this thing with her getting sued by Erika, that's a huge thing. And you see her video are up a little bit from before, but these should be back around 2 million. Like, she's lost viewers. Because people have given up on this fucking story. Because people fade. And more people fade, along the way. Because she should have went after Erika, like, instead of the Fort Huachuca thing. Like, that was some weird sideways way of getting Erika implicated at Fort Huachuca, that whole bullshit thing. Like, the Egyptian planes, that shit should have never happened. Like, she lost all credibility, not just because these things are not believable, but they don't lead anywhere. And so then you're like, well, we're just going down the rabbit hole for no reason. And so it's important to understand this, that she's getting to the party late like these motherfuckers always do. The time to talk about it is really weeks after Erika started doing all this bullshit, but she didn't want to do that for whatever reason. She was told to. They just leaked this information to drag these stories on. The Epstein thing has been going on for like fucking 10 years now. Like, I don't know when I first started covering Epstein, but it was, 8 years ago. It was like at least 2015 when Trump was first being elected. I have photos from me talking about the Epstein thing. That's when I did that original photo I would show you guys with his quote about Epstein, being a terrific guy. Like, so I knew about Trump and Epstein back in 2015, and nothing ever fucking happens. Like, nothing big. They never get any heads at all, never mind, in terms of like one guy going to jail, like just one person, not in terms of like all these other people that could. And so it's important to know that when you're seeing these things, it's really just about, these are human interest stories that have no effect on the system. It might affect who gets elected or not. I mean, really it hasn't. But, it might affect how popular Trump is, how long he can pull his bullshit before he loses his base, shit like that. But it's, it's a nominal effect. It's not going to reverse anything or stop the collapse of the system. So with that in mind, let's go to this piece here. Erika Kirk's released videos, which I think are part of a plan. They're time released. This is how they run these psychological operations. They disseminate information over a period of time, right? Like you saw the video of whatever that guy's name is who was kicking the car. The guy was shot in the back. I forgot his name again. But he, they released that video of him kicking out the taillight at a very opportune time, right? The stuff with Don Lemon's, very opportune time, right? These things are planned out. And so Candace Owens doesn't have anything more like that. So, I can pretty much ignore her. I was going to tell everyone I wasn't really going to do anything with the video she put up. But this one guy showed back up. This guy was one of the first guys on TPUS Gay. He's a pastor or something, talking about Charlie, like right after this stuff all went down. And I guess he's been trying to say that Candace Owens is the devil. Because I'll show you, TPUS Gay is not addressing these leaked videos, right? Now, my wife said there was speculation that she saw where people are saying that whoever is trying to take over TPUS Gay and oust Erika Kirk is releasing these videos. But the reality is there's nothing left to take over. I mean, they have the properties and they have the infrastructure, but they've lost all credibility outside their most loyal people. And those people will fade away just like everybody else. It's, there's nothing there. Like, there's people that are, they are really into it. They're really cultified, but that's about it. And so, they've lost, pretty much any kind of viewership, and most people are coming to them and trolling them. And, they can't reboot after this. People are going to lose interest in this thing, but their opinion, the brand damage to TPUS Gay is immense. And so this guy,
I guess, kind of stay in the same vein. Frank Turek, I've invited him on the show many times. He gives me Rabbi Barclay, who had that debate.
Okay, she said, I was hoping that here. Where do we go here? Here we go. Right here.
Owens is.
Let's go back one more. Oh, fuck. I hope that's.
And take a listen.
I just couldn't listen to her. Like, I started watching this video a little bit. I'm like, fuck, I just can't listen to her. Like, it's just, the price is too heavy for something that really isn't, it's a fading story. But this fucking weird guy.
I think Candace Owens is completely lost any credibility when she's saying that certain dreams are where she's getting her information from. Okay? Yeah, there are dreams in the Bible, but there's always supernatural confirmation for those dreams. There's been no supernatural confirmation.
Yeah, well, not really supernatural confirmation. Like, you guys just make shit up. The Bible's full of shit, right? I wanted to, I was talking about the circumcision, right? When we're very quick in allopathic medicine to remove critical parts of the body. You know, every part of the body serves a purpose. There's nothing in the body that, you know, doesn't affect the whole. Like each organ, each system in the body, you know, your respiratory system, your circulatory system, your digestive system, and, you know, all these other aspects of it, like your skin, of course, your senses, your glands, like the Whispers of the Brighter World talk about the glands being the guardians of the body. And, you know, the foreskin is a gland. I believe it's a gland. It's at least part of the gland that's, you know, the part of the penis, right? So, you know, anytime you remove some part of the body, whether it's a gallbladder, whether it's your tonsils, your adenoids, you know, various things that people get surgically removed. Of course, you know, all this plastic surgery and these things. But when you take somebody's heart, to do a heart replacement, you know, you're putting somebody's physical heart in your body. And that's not good. Like, it's a fucked up thing, right? You know, I can understand why people want that if it can be done. But, you know, it's somebody else's heart, right? Like, it's your body was designed by your soul, and everything plays a part in it. And when you start having organ failure, you start having systems break down, you can survive that, but your life is just shit, and your health is never going to be the same. And, you know, you just can't remove things. So to remove a part of the body that God put on your body, like your soul created that body, you know, your foreskin, is a fucked up thing. It's unnatural. It goes against God's will. Like I said, God would have would have not given you a foreskin, right? Like, it's like, you know, where the fuck is this weird shit coming from? This obsession with it. And so, you know, all these things with dreams and channeling. Well, let's listen to this guy talk about it. I haven't heard this yet.
For Candace Owens' dreams, you can come up with any possibility you want. Possibilities are not evidence, ladies and gentlemen. We're supposed to follow evidence.
You mean when Erika Kirk says Charlie's looking down from heaven, and this is what Charlie wants, and this is what Charlie thinks, and he's just up there doing shit with Jesus and celebrating? You mean, is that evidence? Like, or any of the number of fucking things you guys present in your bullshit show that people are just supposed to absorb, and all the religious stuff that's there that people are just supposed to, like, is there evidence that God promised Israel the promised land? Is that it? What evidence is there of that? That it's in the fucking Bible? It's in the Old Testament? That's not fucking anything. That doesn't hold up in court. There's no fucking proof of that, right? Just because they say God talked to them, are you saying that they have evidence and that's been backed by supernatural phenomenon? Like some bullshit things. Like, remember I did the Kleenex thing that Charlie's and Jesus were together on Erika's snot rag? Like, you think Jesus on some toast is supernatural confirmation?
And notice, I'll say this again. In fact, I just had I was just talking to a pastor friend of mine. He was like, what do I say when, you know, people are running down Erika Kirk? And I say the same thing that I say. Have you noticed that Jesus and the apostles say that Satan is a murderer, a slanderer, an accuser, a liar, and somebody that brings confusion? Have you noticed that we've had a murder, and then since then we've had slander, accusations, lies, and confusion? That's what spiritual warfare is, ladies and gentlemen. And
okay, but are you saying Satan is working through Candace Owens? Because he certainly isn't responsible for the murder. Like, you're saying the official story is, you're not saying Tyler Robinson is Satan, right? Like, you believe in Tyler Robinson? And so what about Israel? Like, is Israel responsible, like, at least the Zionists? Like, let's say they killed Charlie, and then they've slandered everybody, and they've confused. There's, you know, you can make a case for that, right? But not for, you know, would you think that Tyler Robinson and Candace Owens were working together? Like, who's Satan in this scenario?
for people who are slandering Erika and others, including me, and making accusations and lies and stirring up confusion without...
You know, calling people Satan, that's kind of like slander. That's kind of one of the worst names, right? Like calling somebody a cunt isn't as bad as calling someone a Satan, right? You know, I think in terms of people who believe in are big Christians, like the worst insult is calling somebody a demon and then maybe Satan. is worse than that, right? Or working for Satan, which makes you a demon.
Evidence, this is what Satan does.
Boom. All right. So goes into her bullshit dreams and then calls her Satan. And so they haven't responded. Let me go to TPUSK. Okay. So this is the Charlie Kirk channel, right? Charlie Kirk, Right Wing Revolution, the books. This is Charlie Kirk's picture. This is Charlie Kirk's channel. But now look at who's getting all the photos here. Look at Andrew Covert here. Now, Andrew Covert, Erika Kirk, according to Candace Owens, threw him under the bus and blamed him for a lot of the things that Candace was upset about. And he had communicated with Candace and said some things. And he was the guy that rolled with this story that Charlie has some sort of magic neck and that neck stopped this bullet. And they came in and said, no, this was a special bullet that turns to powder on impact. So that's where they're trying to blame this guy Tyler Robinson for the murder, not a 30-06. But here's Andrew Covert, who was big, that according to Candace Owens was blamed. Here are the twinks, right? The two twinks and these guys. But look, he's in every picture now. And nobody likes the guy. Look at the difference between Candace Owens' view count, where she's down and she gets 1.8 million. She used to get 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 4 million in some cases, 3 million views. I mean, she's getting a lot more. And as annoying as she is, her content's a lot more interesting and a lot more, engaging. But here, Andrew Covert there, Andrew Covert here, Andrew Covert here. At least this expression here. Look, they're using the same picture over and over. Use this picture here. This surprised look that he's giving. And the guy is fucking unlikable. And so TPUSK students sharing their experiences with politics. I wonder if any of these have interesting comments. I'll open some of these. Insane nurses tell people how to secretly poison and kill ICE agents. There was one thing on women here. Let me see. The big difference between Kyle Rittenhouse and Alex Preddy. And then I saw something on women. Did I pass it by? I think I must have. Young women are becoming more and more radical every year. What's driving this? So Andrew Covert is in every one of these pictures. Nobody wants to see him. They keep on leaving comments and saying, you're not Charlie Kirk. Stop taking his channel. But let's watch a few of these because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of comments from people. So 6,000 views from a day ago, 7,000 views, 7.8, 10,000 views. These are the things, 8,000 views, 10,000 views, 6,000 views. I mean, this is nothing. For something this big where you got 600 employees and all this overhead. And so, this guy isn't getting it done. Like, putting this picture out isn't going to help, right? Like, nobody likes this motherfucker. And, and who knows if there's, internal battle for this, this desolate wasteland of a YouTube channel and, of a social media accounts that nobody wants to see anymore because you've lost your fucking way. Nobody believes the official story. Almost nobody believes the official story of Charlie Kirk being assassinated by this guy Tyler Robinson and his crew of furry transgender, whatever they were, right? Nobody but believes it. And so they wonder why you're covering it up. At the very least, you're being complicit with the government, as is Kash Patel and the rest of these people. And so we'll open that one as well. And we'll go through here and we'll look at these comments just to get a sense of where they're at. But this is what I was saying before and what was happening with Kerp, Metzger, and Joe Rogan. It doesn't matter. Like, this thing is dead. Like, this is TPUS gay is just going to go downhill, and it's going to be a mediocre, moderate YouTube channel and social media, whatever they do in the future. If they replace these people, they fight over the brand, they do all these things. But there's never going to be a time where it's like it was. It's not going to have any importance in politics like it did. It's not going to reboot itself. I mean, as much as it's backed by Israel and the intelligence community, it just doesn't, people are have it's done. The brand is so ruined in terms of the audience that there's no way to turn that around. TPUS gay students sharing their experiences with politics in their schools. Number one comment. Do students know that Mikey McCoy's bottom lip was quivering? Forcing PTO use right after Kirk died. What a sociopathic org. What is PTO? I don't know. But you get the idea. We won't be able to find Charlie anymore with all these shows now. We know what you're doing. TP Israel. TP US Gay is going to go down. Boy, I miss listening to Charlie from the chair. I guess he was too good for this evil world. Broken-hearted emoji. We miss you, Charlie. Young minds are taking a positive lead. Love to see. So there's one comment that likes this video. The view numbers are dropping. Good thing is Erika is selling more merch than ever. Don't worry, Charlie. We will not let these people destroy your legacy. We know. I didn't get a chance to watch Candace today yet. I heard you guys watch her live. What's the tea? It's great to see you, Charlie. Hope you are doing well, sir. You look different since I saw you. Did you change your hair? I haven't visited your channel in a while, since I think last August of July. Hope the wife and kids are doing well. You guys really need a vacation. You guys work real hard. Love you all. That's just a wonderful comment. Doodly 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 loo 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 wop 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 womp womp womp. I pray that my kids will grow up right like them. I'm glad that there are colleges and students with common sense. So here's a couple of positive comments, right? So, there's a few things here. 500 views in 15 minutes, yikes. Oh dear, another TPUSA dodgy pastors. All right, so, there's that one. Here's another one. I haven't even looked at these.
We want to talk with...
Kash Patel exposes the rampant fraud schemes plaguing the country. Charlie, we miss you. Why hasn't anyone been handcuffed yet, starting with the governor? No wonder our debt is $38 trillion. If you want to talk fraud, go into your donors' tax returns. Does Kash Patel know that Mikey McCoy's bottom lip was quivering? This guy, I think it might be the same guy commenting all the time. There's two replies to that. Laughing my ass off. You mean Mikey McQuiverer? Those are the responses to that comment. They're trying to spread us thin to attack us. Stay alert. Stay alive, folks. Democrats are rarely punished. Yet, Kash won't allow anyone to investigate the murder of Charlie. Weird friend you got there. And then 3 replies to that. What do you mean he's keeping them safe? There's a trial coming up, and it's not an FBI investigation. It's a state investigation. Stop listening to Candace. She's lost her marbles. No, she hasn't. Her marbles are all there, mate. So is the one true friend Charlie had. She was the one true friend Charlie had. Anyone else was fake and gay. This is then going back to new comments. New home of total stupidity. Kash Patel hasn't exposed anything. He's a massive failure. Just as corrupt as TPUS gay. What about Minnesota? What about Arizona? We are Charlie Kirk. Beavis and Butthead. That's not as good as 2 beta males sharing 1 testicle. That swings. As a governor voter, thank you for letting not letting this issue die. I watched as my vote was stolen when they did the midnight shenanigans, whatever that is. That's going back to that. So, this whole thing. This is where TPUS gay is, and it's gone down in a way that, there's no fixing it, right? Like, there's a certain level of brand damage that happens, and when that, it's not repairable, right? And everyone has Erika's the owner of this business, and she's just not liked, and they're hiding her away again, and there's no way to make her be likable. Like, she's like on the level of Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris unlikability. And she can't reverse that. Like, there's no sympathy. I mean, now, it's like it right off the bat, she grieved in a way that was not believable. And so the people that, believed it or wanted the fake shit or whatever, they wanted the performance. Yeah, for those people. But everyone else, she's not liked. She's got she's got no love. And so then these two guys and the guys that run the show are unlikable, arrogant, and, talking down to the audience and telling them and trying to mansplain everything. So they're not getting it done. And so what do you have left, right? You have like nothing left. You don't have people that can replace, they're not going to give anybody new a shot. You don't have it's like, these horrible candidates for president. Trump sucks, but the way that Trump carries himself and the brand that he's built up, there's no way to replace him. J.D. Vance is not Trump, right? The Republicans don't have a second act of someone like Trump. And even if there was a younger version of Trump, like they cloned the guy, he wouldn't have the same effect or same affection and love from the people there, especially now that he's tanking and, he's been discredited. But there's no superstars in the Democratic or Republican Party where people just universally like and, has something, these ones that are, we think about ones that had a really, Ronald Reagan did, Clinton did, Obama did, and Trump, right? These ones that have just, I don't want to call it charisma, but they have something, right? They call that Riz? Is that Riz, charisma? Young people. Anyways, there's no people out there, just horrible candidates, and people have to, hold their nose and pull the lever because they just, nobody's out there is they're not passionate about these people. And Erika Kirk's one of those people, and there's no, is not one of those people that people will be passionate about. And there's no one at TPUSK that's there to replace them. And even if they gave it to Candace with her lots of views that she got, Candace is so polarizing and she's so like fucking horrible that TPUSK is done for. And as time goes on, the memory of Charlie Kirk for all of us that know he was a piece of shit, that's fine. And that's probably going to be a growing number. But the people who were fans of TPUSK, you're going to always remember things more fondly. When somebody dies, people, lose their anger and hatred, and there's not as much venom. People don't stay angry very long at a corpse. And so, you just move on. And you start remembering people better than they were. That's what happens to all these people. They become saints after they die, when they truly weren't. Anyways, let me wrap this one up here. I'm going to make this video a little bit shorter and get this up for Sunday morning. And then I'll come back on Monday. The spiritual gathering starts on Monday. For those of you who are interested, you can check out the Gratefullness Meditation channel, which I posted a few videos about it. There's a video of the Lology, the first master of the system, a really poorly done, with homemade kind of video, movie of his life by the, Abhyasis, the practitioners of the system. It's in subtitles, and I've watched it a number of times. It means something to me because I'm doing the meditation, but it's, it's really poorly done. And I also just want to end with these, these four groups, Lemon versus Megyn Kelly and Candace versus Erika. They're all the same person, right? They're, they're not opposites. They're not good versus evil. They're just different versions of evil, right? There's just different versions of deviance, right? And they're not, they're frenemies. They make each other relevant. Like Candace Owens is disparaging Erika Kirk but keeping her alive, and Megyn Kelly and Don Lemons have this adversarial thing, but they're propping each other up, right? They give each other content. They give each other, run and credibility with their own side, left, right, cover. And so, like, they're all in partnership, right? Without Erika Kirk, Candace Owens doesn't have a story right now. Like, she's not her enemy, right? Like, she's, integral to this whole thing. And without Megyn Kelly, Megyn Kelly and MAGA, Don Lemons doesn't have anything to talk about. Of course they have other people, but it's the same thing. It's all the same. They're all frenemies, right? And these people are, particularly, they're targeting each other. Erika Kirk and Candace Owens have an exclusive thing, where Megyn Kelly And, Don Lemon's have an open thing, right? But it's still the same thing. They're just frenemies that are, they're working for the same evil operation. Anyways, only spirituality will save this world. It's paramount, definitely point for the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.